Hello everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, I am Hunty MUA, otherwise welcome back. This week I am going to get into a topic that I have been asked lots of questions about over the years before I've even started doing YouTube and stuff like that. How do you contour? How do you make your face look so sculpted? And people like how I do that, which is really flattering to me because I find so much fascination in contouring and the way it really transforms the entire look. So I'm gonna get into some specifics on how to contour based on your specific face shape. So I'm gonna get into some contouring. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click the bell icon down below so you're notified every time I post a new video. Give this one a thumbs up. Don't forget to share my videos on social media and whatnot. I still wanna do a giveaway when I reach 500 subscribers. And check out the description box down below for a list of all the products I've used in this video, since I'm focusing mostly on contouring and things that have to do with the contouring process. So yeah, I believe that's it, other than go follow me on social media too. I'm really active on Instagram and TikTok still, even though I'm filming YouTube videos less, just so I can focus on more things, and I will post that all pretty much daily on Instagram and TikTok. So I'm Hunty725 on Instagram and Twitter, Hunty MUA725 on TikTok. Snapchat is in the header, and the next screen you will see. Let's talk about some contouring. So specifically for contouring, there are powder contour products and cream contour products. Oddly enough, powder contour seems to be more popular, more people prefer it. I have always cream contoured. I think it's easier to work with. I think it's easier to manipulate. There are lots of good cream contour products out there. I know NYX has a really good cream contour palette. There's a Wet n Wild contour stick. Anastasia used to make a cream contour palette. They had several shades of that. They discontinued it. They have sticks now. I have not tried the sticks. Some Patrick Ta cream contour, but my favorite cream contour, and I've used this in some of my videos before, is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick. I use the shade medium. I think they have 5 or 6 different shades. So I like to go a little bit warmer. The deeper your skin tone is, the darker you want to go. So rule of thumb, you always want to go several shades darker for contour than your skin tone. I've heard some people say 2 shades darker. If I was going 2 shades darker than this to contour with, I don't know that you would see much of it. So this is what the color looks like that I use. This thing is used and abused. I like it a lot. So you can use a stick like this. If you're using a brush to use the cream contour, paint it on, sculpt out your shape. Lots of contour brushes are like this flat one here. Lots of people like that shape just to really keep it focused, get in the hollows of your cheekbones. If I'm using a brush to contour with, honestly, I like to use a flat foundation brush and just paint on the shape that I want. But if you've got a stick, then the stick is more controlled. The product is already there. So we're gonna use the stick. What I like to do is go along and feel where my cheekbone is. So I like to go literally on my cheekbone to keep it pretty high because I want to lift my face. If you go too low down with your contour, it's gonna drag your face down. I like to lift my bone structure up and then brighten in the center to bring everything forward. So it's a really capturing kind of effect. So I am just gonna go along the cheekbones first. And I'm not gonna go too far in. So rule of thumb, here, right past the corners of your mouth, you don't wanna bring any contour into. As you can see, they're not exactly even, and that's okay because we're just going to blend them out. You also want to go on your forehead. I have a pretty big forehead. You're gonna wanna contour the forehead no matter what. So I like to put a pretty heavy amount on the sides because I do have a larger forehead, just a small amount up top because I like to bring everything forward. So next thing you want to do is focus on the jawline. I love defining my jawline. So I will literally go from the top of my jawline down with this all the way to my chin. Top of my jawline, down with this all the way to my chin on both sides. As you can see there, if I wanted to kind of make my face shorter, give it a more like feminine effect, then I would bring this jaw contour up onto my face more and not focus it so much on the jawline. I do like to get the chin here to kind of conceal any double chin that might be there. It doesn't really look like there's one, but if I'm laughing and enjoying myself, then it's gonna poke out. So giving your chin a shadow will kind of conceal what's there from any unflattering angles. And then the last thing before I start blending this all out, hopefully it's not too dry and will actually blend out, because I usually don't talk this much while I contour. I focus on the nose. I like to slim the nose up quite a bit. I've got a pretty decent nose shape to work with. Even if you don't, if you've got a wider bridge, that's also where contour comes into play. You can draw on whatever shape you want on that nose to make it as snatched as possible. And I like to make mine appear just a little smaller. If you don't want it to be as enhanced, just go down the sides a little bit with your contour to slim it up and enhance it a little bit, just to enhance the natural contours of your face. But I will literally go from where my eyebrow ends all the way down to the end of my nose. And just draw a line. And I like to start wider out when I'm drawing this line, because I can always bring it further in. If I go too far in, then I'm going to contour the literal center of my nose, and that's not what I want to do. So I will be pretty light with this at first, just so I can make sure I'm creating the shape that I want to. And prior to this, I've already highlighted in the areas that I want to highlight, minus my nose. I like to leave that for last, just so the shape in the middle stays as highlighted as possible. I have came too far over with this side, and that's okay, because we can fix it with some concealer. So I've made that nose shape pretty skinny, and as you can see, it is going up into my eyebrow, and I'm going to blend it out. This contour stick comes with this really awesome brush on the end of it. You can use a flatter kabuki brush like this. You can also use your beauty blender, and that works just fine. When you're blending out the sides here, it kind of also depends on, like I said, what kind of look you're going for. If you want to just enhance your contours, but you want to be soft, blend that sucker out as much as you want to. I like to keep mine pretty enhanced, so I kind of squeeze my beauty blender flat, and I start blending out just where I've drawn it on already, and then I'm gonna go up. Go up with the contour. And you can kind of see what that does. Once you get other products on top of it, like blush and bronzer, it looks a bit more natural than if you were to just contour your face and leave it. And when I'm blending that out and I'm blending it into my face to create that structure, I'm feeling where my cheekbone is and where the hollow of my cheek is to get that shape that I want. Blend out the forehead. You want to make sure this is blended really, really well. I literally blend the contour into my hairline, and then between these two contours, I will make sure that is blended into the concealer that is highlighting there, so it doesn't look so stark, as you can see there before it's blended out. But you want that contour to look like it's, you know, part of your natural structure, which is why blending it into the hairline is pretty crucial. So then I'll just blend out the top there, keep that pretty focused. So it essentially looks like I've got a strap on the top of my head, and then you just want to blend out that highlight that's already in the middle, and that's that. I've still got my jaw, still got my nose, so I will keep that jaw contour exactly where it's at. With the jaw, you don't want to blend up, you want to blend down, which is the opposite part of everything else on the face. And make sure you blend this sucker out. Contouring has always been one of my most favorite parts of my makeup routine, but when I started doing it, I would forget a lot of the times when I was doing my makeup that I had drawn the contour onto my jawline. and I'd like go to work or go out with friends, someone would be like, you got a big line. And so make sure you're remembering to blend out the contour everywhere you've set it down. Next thing I'm gonna do, lastly, in terms of cream contouring, is blend out the nose. So I will squeeze this really, really small, and just small tapping motions to blend out the contour down the nose. But I'm going out towards the sides of the nose, just so I'm not bringing that in too far on the bridge to make my shape stay pretty enhanced. And then if you're drawing it up into your brow like I am, to kind of elongate your nose and make it as slim as possible, make sure you are blending out that contour that's up top. Otherwise you're gonna have little brown skid marks going into your eyebrows, and that's not cute. So that's kind of where the nose is at. As you can see, depending on where the light hits it, it looks slimmer than it naturally is. I save my highlight for my nose for after I've put on my contour, and I will use the tiniest amount of concealer to make sure that nose really pops. So what I like to do, you can draw whatever shape you like. You can go with a straight line down the nose. I keep mine pretty thin, and I start with a little dot at the center that almost goes up into my forehead, as you can see there. And for concealer, I'm using, once again, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Magic Touch Concealer. Fabulous concealer, amazing coverage. I'm gonna take my Beauty Blender again. I use the Beauty Blender for everything. These things work wonders. Not even necessarily a beauty blender brand, Beauty Blender, just these sponges in general. So multi-use. I could probably do an entire face of makeup using one of these, even with powder products. That's how versatile they are, which is amazing. So I am going to blend out just a little bit. Voila. One thing I like to do, if you want it to stay pretty blended, that's fine, but I like to have that sculpted look, so I will take my same foundation shade, and it's a liquid pump foundation. You can see other products that I've used for this look down in the description box below. I'll take this and just carve out underneath my contour. This is a good trick if your jaw contour gets too high. Just take your foundation over the top of it, and it will fix that issue. But as always, blend that out, especially into the jaw, and then I'll just go ever so softly up the contour there. Blend that out, make sure everything is soft, unless I don't want it to be soft. So that's it. That's how I contour with cream. There's more that goes into enhancing these effects as I do the rest of my makeup. I will do the rest of my makeup, kind of speed through everything if it doesn't pertain to contouring. And like I said, everything else I'm using in this look will be in the description box down below. But I'm gonna keep going and finish the face up. We'll continue by setting it with some powder. That is pretty crucial if you're using cream contour. Make sure you set it with powder, or it's gonna move around. Alrighty, I am back. I have brushed off the baking powder. I have popped on a lash, and one is lower than the other, but that's fine. So after I've got the baking powder off, next thing I go in with is bronzer. So bronzer will be a little bit lighter than your contour. It kind of warms the face up, gives it some color, more of a sun-kissed look. You know, you can find lots of powder contour palettes if you're more comfortable with powder contour that have contouring and bronzing shades in them. Lots of good bronzers out there that I've talked about in lots of videos. One of my more recent favorites has been the iconic London Ultimate Bronzing Powder, and this is in medium bronze, so this is what it looks like. I like a more warm, like golden toned bronzer. I don't like anything that's too red or anything that's too cool and has like those blue undertones, because then I feel like it gets to look chalky. So with bronzer, since it's not gonna be, I mean, if we want to be technical, it is going to be focused, but it's not going to be as focused as the contour is. So I like taking my bronzer on a brush like this. I've got a lot on there, so I'm going to knock some off. And then you'll kind of take that, and I start at the high points of my cheeks, kind of focus there and blend down. Kind of going around that contour and up into the cheekbone a little bit more. From this side to this side, you can tell a stark difference. I will blend it out. I don't just put it on like that and leave it. A little bit more goes into getting the sculpt that I have than just slapping the stuff on and leaving it there. So like I said, on the other side, stay more focused towards the back first, blend it down into that hollow of your cheek, keeping the brush turned sideways like this, not going long ways with it. And when you're blending it out, circular motions and go up with it. Don't pull down, because we are lifting the face. We're not bringing it down. If you were to bring it down instead, you would look really sad, like one of those old clown photos, you know what I'm talking about? Insert one here, maybe, I don't know. I will also take my bronzer on my jawline. This is not necessary, but I like enhancing that jawline as much as possible. So I'll take it the same spots and kind of bring it down. And then for the nose, so you can still stay more focused, I take a fluffy angled brush like this, so you can see it is angled up, just to kind of hug the bridge of the nose. So I'll take a generous amount, tap off the excess, then I'll take this and I'll take that angle, so it's going down the side of my nose, and I'll start from the top and just kind of go very, very lightly where that contour is laid down. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. And this just kind of gives that illusion that the nose is smaller than it is. So after I've done that, I'll brush off the excess on the brush and just make sure this is blended out as much as possible, but focusing more on blending it down the sides of my nose and not the center, just so the center of the nose stays as snatched and as thin as possible. That's kind of where we're at with that. With my bronzer on the sides, I'll take a flat, like dense kabuki brush like this, and I'll just, with patting motions going up, make sure that is as blended as possible. I'm pretty sure this brush had blush left on it. That's okay. So as I have talked about contouring and bronzing and shaping and sculpting the face, I will continue while I'm doing my makeup to kind of sculpt in different ways and make sure it is staying enhanced. One thing I like to do to make sure that is happening is baking my bronzer. So I will take a brightening powder. This is Jaclyn Cosmetics brightening under eye powder in the shade Brightening Light Banana. She has some different shades. I take this because my foundation is a more golden undertone. If I have one that's a rosy undertone, I take a pink powder. If it's just really, if my skin is really, really light, like in the winter, then I will take one with a lilac kind of tint to it. But I will take this on a flat angled sponge and cut underneath that bronzer, and then kind of make sure it goes up and not straight down. Oop. And I'll literally bring that powder to my mouth just to make sure that that bronzer is staying where it's supposed to stay. This powder itself has a lot of extra coverage and it does some weird things to my nose. So I also sculpt out that bronzer on the nose to make sure the shape is exactly what I want it to be, because this translucent powder will kind of cut that out. It'll also buff out any excess that you've gotten in places you don't necessarily want it. So I'll just take it down the sides of my nose. So once I have that bake on, I will let it set in place for a little while, just so it can kind of enhance what I'm wanting it to enhance. So while we're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and work on my lips a bit. So after I'm already done lining the lips, I don't really know what happened here. They look huge. I'm not mad about it, but girl. My lips look so good. This ain't even about lips. Ooh, you get big lips and you feel like a different person. Hello. So this is set for long enough. You don't have to let it set for this long. What I will do is I will brush that powder away. And this one, I work a little bit harder to blend. So it's not a harsh line, because I want it to be cut. But I still want it to be blended into the bronzer, where that cheekbone cuts versus where the bronzer is at. Making sure it is blended out properly is pretty crucial. I'll brush off the powder from the center of the nose. And then I'll do just a little bit more to work on this shape and structure. I'm literally, from start to finish, working on enhancing the shape of my face the whole time. And I'll do one more step. I'll take this brightening palette. It is the Face It All Brightening and Setting palette from Jaclyn Cosmetics in Fair to Light. This is what it looks like. You can take a really light pressed like powder foundation or an eyeshadow even, and kind of do this trick with that. So what this does is it takes that brightened effect that you've already worked on with your concealer. It goes away a little bit more with the powder, so it looked a little more when I put the concealer on. So what that does is it brings a little bit of that brightness back that's been subdued from the concealer with the powder on top of it, brings a little bit of that back, but blends that in to the bronzer and where you've sculpted out those contours and kind of meshes them together as one. And I am taking two shades, one that's a little bit too light, the other a little bit warmer. So I take this under the eye and focus it mainly underneath. And then once I've got most of that off of my brush, I'll blend it into the nose a little bit. I'll also do this on the center of my forehead to make sure that is as bright as possible. In terms of blush, blush even goes in conjunction with contouring. You can kind of do whatever you want with blush. I'm a blush fanatic, so I'll put it all over my whole face. What I've been liking recently is putting it more towards the back of my cheekbones to lift a little bit more. I put a little bit on the chin, a little bit on the nose, a little bit up here to give that sun-kissed look. In the winter time, I'll usually just put it on like the apples of my cheeks and the nose. But for blush, I'm gonna use the Scott Barnes Chic Cheek #1 blush palette. This is what this palette looks like. And I am gonna take this shade here called Sweet Cheeks. And I use a blush brush that looks like this. So essentially a smaller, way smaller powder brush. You can take blush if you would like on a more angled brush to hug the top of that cheekbone. I like this because I feel like I can blend the blush better. So I tap my excess off and start with a pretty light hand on the back part of my cheek. See how it goes in conjunction with your contouring? It is all blending together to create this seamless effect. And I'll bring it down to the apples of my cheeks just a little bit. And I know that looks a little intense, and I learned this trick from Jaclyn Hill, taking one of these to kind of blend out your powder products and mesh them in. I am going to finish the eyes off camera and I'll be right back. I'm gonna use a couple different highlighters, my Jouer Molten Glow highlighter and my Jaclyn Cosmetics Accent Light Highlighter in Sparks. I will use the Sparks one for the center of my nose, plus my brow bone and inner corner. I'll use this Jouer one for the rest of my face. So I like to stay pretty focused with the highlight. If you want, you can blend it out more, but I will keep mine on these high points of my cheeks. If you want a more glowy look, feel free to place it all over and just blend it out more if you don't want it so focused. But this one is really pretty. It is blinding. It looks really wet. I love this highlighter. You can use code Hunty725 to save a little bit of money at checkout when you purchase some Jouer cosmetics products. They are amazing. I also used the Ultimate Auntie palette from Hands Honey on my eyes. This little guy right here, so pretty. I used that on my eyes. You can use code Hunty to save a little bit at checkout for Hands Honey as well. So on the nose, I keep that highlight focused exactly where I've highlighted with the concealer. And I draw out my eyeshadow. So I will draw out that inner corner highlight, as you can see there. And then I also take it on the brow bone. Last two steps of my makeup routine always stay the same. I set my eyebrows with some brow freeze from ABH. And I always finish off a look with some lip gloss. I'm gonna use my Edge Beauty Edge Glass and just tap that on. All right, so that is the look. That is the best I can explain contouring and how to take advantage of your face shape and what to do with it, because like I said, it does sound kind of intimidating, but it's super, super simple once you get the hang of it. If I'm just sitting down to do my makeup, I can fly through all that in no time. So definitely kind of play around with it, because it is like, my face looks completely different from start to finish, mainly because of the contouring, which is just super cool to me. So I hope this was insightful. I hope you were all able to pick up some tips. If you haven't, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up and click the bell icon down below so you're notified every time I post a new video. Check out the product description in the description box down below so you know what all I use, since I didn't go through my whole look. But if you're curious what a certain product is that I have on, then you can find out there. Keep sharing my videos so I can still do a giveaway whenever I reach 500 subscribers, and follow my socials, Hunty725 on Instagram and Twitter, Hunty MUA725 on TikTok. My Snapchat is in the header in the very last screen you will see. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye everyone.